Are you ever faced with decisions in which your loyalty to our organization seems to conflict with your personal interests? Where what seems good for you may not be good for the organization. It happens to many of us, and it can be very stressful as we struggle to make the best decision. Imagine that a few years ago, you invested in a training center, hoping to make extra money. When you joined our organization, you did not disclose your investment, as there was no reason to do so at the time. However, the center recently expanded its suite of training offerings, and these offerings could certainly help our organization meet its training goals. But you also know that this could pad your own pocketbook, along with training center's investors, some of whom are your physician customers. Do you promote the training center, considering that it will provide a quality service to our organization and line your own pockets at the same time? Or do you speak to our compliance office immediately to avoid the appearance of a conflict of interest, but potentially lose out on a good opportunity? It can feel like a very difficult choice. The good news is that by the end of this brief video, you'll have the tools to confidently make the best choice in these situations. You'll make the right choices for both yourself and for the organization, avoid potential disciplinary action, and feel a whole lot better in the process. The first step to avoiding conflicts of interest is to be able to identify them. A conflict of interest can occur anytime we have a financial, social, or political interest that could in some way hamper our fairness and impartiality on the job. Some examples of a conflict of interest include accepting a valuable gift from a vendor or customer, holding political office where your official duties conflict with your work responsibilities, or owning stock in a vendor or a competitor. It is also a conflict of interest to have a second job that conflicts with your ability to perform your job in a fair and unbiased manner, since you may be tempted to give special treatment to your secondary employer. At the very least, you will have created the appearance that you are likely to reciprocate for a personal advantage by rewarding the other employer with certain benefits in exchange. Also, since you feel obligated to that other employer, you may not make the best decisions for our organization. So, by now you should have the information you need to identify a conflict. Let's say you are part of a team evaluating potential vendors, one of which is a company in which your cousin is part owner. Since you have a vested interest in the outcome of the selection process, it is clearly a conflict of interest for you, so you must disclose the conflict to the organization. Talk with your manager about our organization's mechanism for disclosing conflicts. The important point is that if we have identified a potential conflict of interest, we need to reveal it. Once we've disclosed the conflict to our organization, we need to recuse ourselves from any further business dealings related to that conflict. What that means in this case is that, although the vendor may remain in the running, you must remove yourself from the decision-making process. In summary, avoiding conflicts of interest means that you need to identify the conflict, you need to disclose the conflict, and you need to recuse yourself from any possible business dealings related to that conflict. 3 simple steps to confidently making the best decision. In the situation involving your personal investment in the training center, it's now probably apparent that you should contact the compliance department immediately regarding your conflict of interest, and that you should recuse yourself from any business discussions between or about the two entities. In the short run, it may not make the training center happy or help your own bottom line, but in the long run, you'll avoid the consequences of violating organization policy, and your reputation for ethical business dealings will remain intact among your colleagues. Now, doesn't that make you feel better already? If you have any questions about conflicts of interest or other compliance issues, please contact our ethics or compliance office. We're here to help.